All right, what's up, guys? So Vincent Martin, I like, bro. The thing is this. If I could just start off real quick with just giving him a little bit of advice, the whole defending just a robot like thing that you got going on right now, you gotta drop it. Like you really gotta drop it. It's something where I feel that if you were to like delete the videos, like overall just declare like I'm no longer from this day forward, no longer supporting just a robot, not doing any more defense videos on him. I am going to let this man be his own man. I'm stepping out of it. I feel like that you might, if you want to have a career, I guess, out of like, with like content creating and all that stuff, YouTube and all that, you could potentially continue on. Like you could have something going on for yourself. But I mean, yeah, if you're trying to, I guess, just declare your I guess alliance with just a robot, like I'm declaring it, like I'm a fanboy. It's like I gotta also be a clinker with just a robot and stuff. It's like, yeah, bro, you gonna go down with them. So I just don't know. I don't get that. Like me in my early days with content creating, like, yeah, I made some dumb mistakes, but I was a teenager. Like I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But as a grown man, I guess getting into content creating, you should make wiser decisions and stuff. But if you turn around doing some stuff like, oh, I want to defend somebody where clearly they're in the wrong and stuff, and then you want to do an analysis video about his like harassment, like, yeah, it's clear as day, like, just a robot, maybe not right now, but yeah, at one point in time, yeah, he was big on, like, I guess not so much himself, but having it where his fans were going around harassing people. So, and I'm like, fam, I can a fan of mine's can vouch. I can vouch. There's a gang of content. Well, I guess, yeah. Then them people at VidCon, they can vouch too. It's like, yeah, his harassment. He wants to call it something else, but it's like, bro, the common terminology of what you're doing, it's called harassment. So, but anyways, and it ain't no opinion. No, it's a fact, bro. I'm like, the stuff that you got going on with you and your fans, it's harassment. Maybe not so much now. I feel like his fans, they're trying their hardest to stay off the radar and stuff, and overall have it where it's like we don't want to stand out and things. But I'm like, yeah, if you were just a robot fan, you definitely gonna, especially now, you definitely gonna stand out. So, but anyways, yeah, let's go ahead, get into this Jartober, overall see the jar tent that's being uploaded, see these defense videos. But anyways, yeah, if y'all want to, you can go subscribe to Vincent Martin, but if not, I can understand. So, but anyways, yeah, let's get into this video. Probably gonna have to speed this up because
Shortly after Beckett dropped his Destiny video and received a ton of criticism for it.
You guys have a draft from her. It seems like she's going to come out in some way because she has a fucking written draft. Like, it just seems, it blows my mind, man. Like, you've been somebody where I've been told over and over again, nah, dude, Cope and Seed is great. He does great videos, takes a lot of care with them. And it's like, to me, I look at this, I'm like, I cannot, it just seems like such a selfish story.
The guy went back to the topic that brought him the most amount of success with Just a Robot or with Mally malware.
Just to give some context for all of this, because it occurred back in 2023, and let's be honest, I can barely remember what happened last week. On June 16th of 2023, just before VidCon, JustARobot released the thumbnail for his upcoming Spoctor video. A few people, one of which was Mally, thought this thumbnail may cross a bit of a line, and she voiced these concerns on Twitter. Jar would begin demanding some kind of call to discuss this, and as VidCon was coming up, he suggested, in a series of messages, actually meeting up with Mally, something she felt pretty uncomfortable with, especially with the way Jar was phrasing it.
Look at how Beckett is framing this. Honestly, how would Just a Robot who's openly autistic be able to know what Mally was feeling at that moment? From my experience,
she was telling him, like, wait, no, here's the thing. In this day and age, Vincent Martin has to be rage baiting. It's like, I feel like it's pretty clear as day where if a person says, like, hey, I don't want to hang out with you, I don't want to see you, however she worded it, because I don't remember word for word what she did, but or what she said, but I partially remember, like, overall the message that she was putting out there where she didn't want nothing to do with just the robot. So yeah, and it's like based off of, I guess, like that conversation with the thumbnail and stuff, and then and it feels like if the events lined up correctly where it's like, okay, the conversation about the thumbnail, those DMs, why would she want to meet up with him? It's like it's one of those things. But I'm convinced, like I'm just based off of them first few seconds of this video, I'm convinced that he's rage
It's
baiting.
usually best to just be straightforward with autistic people. So how can someone who's been in a community full of them not get that? Especially since she had even told him,
Oh, cool. Might see you there then.
before the whole Harley drama started. Now, to be fair to Beckett, he might have not known about these DMs at the time, because I'm sure he would have found a way to work it in with his own loaded phrasing. Because it really does make him look like a real weirdo. What kind? I don't even fucking know from this.
Things would largely go quiet on the topic until August, when a creator named Lin released a video on JustARobot's, and he subsequently began to spiral and lose his mind. In particular, Jar was pretty unhappy that Mally Malware lent her voice to reading her own tweets in Lin's video. I'm going to include an extended bit of this video here, because frankly the way he goes at Harley is, I don't know, just kind of revealing.
My brother in Christ, what the f is that thumbnail? I'm as sore about Spoctor as the next person, but referencing a grown adult meeting up with a child for sex is not the move. Please, I beg, change that text. It's not right to imply such a thing, even unintentionally.
Only for Jar to reply thusly. Well, I don't call him.
And it's funny how like he'll do something like that. And that's the thing. That's just how he is. He'll create something like that. But I remember he was trying to get on me because I had made that video on him where I called him a pedophile. But it's like, okay, if you're doing a video explaining how to get away with being a pedophile, how do you think people are going to, I guess, look at that content, so yeah, it's just that hypocritical side to just the robot. It's funny how like you'll call him out on something, he'll turn around and do the same exact thing. So
T-word or G-word at any point in the video. I mean, I've got a cupcake next to me when I went over my allegations. Would you like to have a friendly VC about it? Jar, no one said that you called Spoctor a predator or a groomer in your video. I mean, how could they? Your video wasn't even up yet. The most that this argument does is distract from what Mally is saying by ultimately strawmanning what she was even arguing by bringing up something that, even if she did have a way to know, wasn't even the topic of conversation. It's at this point that Harley TBS joins the battle.
Hello, little gay people in my phone.
The difference is that your video on your allegations was addressing false allegations, satirizing them in the thumbnail.
yeah, this
and
was
at
the conversation where I guess Just a Robot was all like, oh no, we ain't cool no more. You ain't lining up with me. Yeah, we're no longer friends. I'm declaring it right now. We're no longer cool.
Today, what you do with your brand/rep is your own choice and will only affect you. However, when making a video on Spoctor, it makes the implication that the allegations against him are much worse and draws a poor equivalency between him and EDP, which could be considered damaging. It's not a good choice to do this thumbnail as such, in my opinion.
Pretty reasonable and good faith critique on Harley's end there, I would say, and yet Jar's response would be this. I mean, if there's one person who knows about thumbnails backfiring, it's you. You're still getting hate over the one you did where you were, I think, 14, maybe 15. This one.
I don't know why you're trying to get a clapback on genuine criticism. This is so immature.
That's not what I was going for. I've never even tried that on you once, to be honest. Whoa there, cowboy. Seems like we've taken a bit of a leap there.
This would lead to a series of voice messages and demands once again for a VC.
Whoa, putting the phrasing issues aside for a moment, Beckett skipped over some important context that I think is key to understanding at least a good amount of the situation here, specifically the Poseidon incident, or what caused it all. I tried to check Lin's channel.
I'm just thinking like if there's I don't know. I feel like Just a Robot, he definitely will have a conversation with Vincent if I guess like if Vincent Martin was all like, hey, should I do a video on this TMossBoss guy? Please don't. But I feel like that Just the Robot would talk to him and just be like, oh yeah, no, just leave him alone. But who knows? Just a Robot might be all like, oh yeah, make a video. I don't want to make a video on TMossBoss because he knows they but I feel like people that are paying attention to Just a Robot, they're also the same amount of people that are paying attention to Vincent Martin. I feel like it might be a little bit more with Robot, but yeah, I just know that either way, like whether Vincent is doing a video on me or Just a Robot is doing a video on me, it's pretty much free promotion. Like if I'm gonna be like blunt and truthfully honest with you guys, yeah, I'm not worried about them making a video on me. And Vincent Martin, the way that he does videos, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, he does a video on me, I know it's gonna be comical. So
to see if I could watch further, but couldn't find it on their channel anymore. So I did a little bit of digging and a little bit of work, and I think I figured out why this video might have bothered Jar so much.
I mean, if there's one person who knows about thumbnails backfiring, it's you. You're still getting hate over the one you did when you were, I think, 14, maybe 15.
I don't know why you're trying to get a cheap clapback on genuine criticism. This is so immature.
That's not what I was going for. I've never even tried that on you once, TBH.
Honestly doubt that's what he was going for.
That is definitely how this reads. I'm not gonna make it a bigger thing, but tweeting this is just very silly.
I mean, Lin agrees with me. It reads to me as yet you of all people know about the damage a thumbnail can bring, so I'll look over your advice. You know that I defended you from people behind the scenes about this video of yours, right? Along with publicly when it came to PML.
Then I would argue you're wording your tweet poorly. If that's all it is, then no biggie.
Hard to say. I am dyslexic, but I stopped talking to you over text through DMs because you take too much of an uncharitable interpretation, at least when it comes to text. Sure, everyone does it from time to time, but you do it a little too much. Lin understood what I meant.
I do think we need to reapproach that subject because both myself and the other party you spoke to had exactly the same conclusion based on what you DM'd us. And it was definitely not what you tried to explain it as. I think maybe you didn't communicate what you meant properly. properly.
Met us? Who's us? If you're referring to the DMs on Discord, I showed it to a few people. They agreed with me. I offered to VC with you having Peaches as the middleman, but you turned it down.
And that's his, I guess, like his process. That's his thought process, where if people agree with him, then yeah, then therefore he's right and everybody is wrong.
So it's a little fishy that you were ignoring what Lin said all this time.
What does anything Lin said have to do with this conversation? Question mark, question mark, question mark. To start, because you made a thumbnail that insinuated comparison between child predator, EDP, and Spoctor. Now we're at some weird public feud because you keep digging for something and I just don't get it.
No, this is about you misreading what I said and me pointing out that Lin understood it. You do this a lot. You are moving the convo instead of admitting to being wrong.
I almost missed that Mally jump back into this tweet thread.
I'm done with this conversation, man. I'm not in it for a game of immature pot shots. I chimed in because I wanted to give advice to a friend.
I'm back, Jar. You're wrong. End of discussion. Any implication that Spoctor is a pedo should be immediately struck down. Let's not pretend the implication is not obvious. It costs you nothing to change the text on a thumbnail. Stop being obtuse. You know better. Act like it.
Did you not see my last tweet asking people what I should change the text to? Wait. Oh god. Do you think this thread was arguing about the thumbnail? I'm going to change the text, but the 5 people I showed it to never pointed it out, not even HP.
This tweet thread really turned into something special. Clearly, there was a major breakdown in communications, but if you really think the fault lies solely with Jar, you have to be kidding yourself. Then there's this whole thing Harley does with the whole friendship thing, and honestly, it comes off as manipulative as hell. Not that Jar's perfect here. He has his own issues, which I'll get into. But still, if Jar was really his friend, you would expect Harley to handle this privately, to take the criticism behind the scenes, or at least to clarify before taking it public, especially being his friend. Shouldn't...
But my thing is this, right? When I guess, yeah, there are at times where Just a Robot, he'll have like some private conversation and things. But I feel like if somebody, friend or not, whoever, he's not a private person. So when you put out that like persona, and then that's how, I guess, like if I reach out to you where it's like, okay, this is how you reach out to people, I'm supposed to, I guess, think along the lines like, oh, well, since he's known as like publicly talking about stuff, maybe I should be thinking along the lines like, oh, I should have a conversation with him privately. Just a Robot, yeah, he might have his private conversations here and there, but he's never been a private person. So that's why I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things where I just feel like that Vincent Martin, he thinks that because I've had a few conversations with Just a Robot, or however many conversations he's had with them, he thinks he knows everything about him. And I say that because Just a Robot did the same thing with me. He watched a few videos. I mean, he thought he knew everything he needed to know about me. And it's like, fam, I guarantee I guess like it would make sense if it was like, you've known this guy like personally for like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. That would make sense. Then I feel like a video like defense videos for Just a Robot would be valid. But it's like you know him based off of his Just a Robot persona, but it's like you don't know him. So yeah, it's like you're just knowing basically like just know the things that he talks about in his videos and stuff, or what I guess other people would talk about Just a Robot. But yeah, it's like, fam, you don't know Just a Robot. So it's just these defense videos, they just come off as like very invalid. Like it's like you can't, it's kind of like looking at a like National Enquirer magazine. Like, yeah, they'll have a picture of George Clooney, you know, holding an assault rifle, and it's like, oh, George Clooney goes on a shooting rampage and stuff. But it's like, okay, you're gonna have to provide a little bit more proof and context, you know, like something that we can, as like a group of people sitting down watching this video, we can all agree on it and stuff. But yeah, if you just like take some things and then try to compile it up to a story of your likings, yeah, bro, that's not gonna work. So
Hardly know about these, but no, he goes on publicly instead. Not that Jar's doing the greatest in this interaction either. Still, I was curious why Mally even released what I'm gonna call the totally not blackmail call, due to this line from Just a Robot.
Well, you're saying it's not a public thing, yeah. Unless there's like...
Okay, as long as it's not referred to as blackmail, I don't want to have a
Oh, for fuck's sake, no.
You see, for a while I thought that being released to Beckett to put on his channel was because of something Jar said in his responding with receipts. And given what I found in setting the record straight about the VidCon encounter with Just a Robot is what led me to that impression.
That out of the way, how did this whole damn thing become public? Essentially, it was kind of a game of telephone because when it happened, Jar himself had told Leo Convoy about what transpired at VidCon. And after that, from what I understand, Leo told Kumo, and then Kumo was the one to bring it up publicly in interviews.
If Kalimara here is correct, Lio leaked what Jar told him about his VidCon experience to Kumo, and somehow Jar using a variation off of Kumo's version in his responding with receipts definitely seems like the reason or justification for Callie's video. At least that's what I got from that whole thing. Clearly I was overthinking it and looking in the wrong places, because it seems that Mally Malware just got pressured into it, unless she lied to Lin in these DMs. What is even more ironic is how Lin frames the possibility of Jar doing a video response to their video on him. In fact, that Lin was trying to get a hold of this private totally not blackmail call that wasn't to be released unless
private information that has been discussed in private will remain private, and that things that are said will not be lies or intentionally misrepresented in order to make the other person look bad. Mally, agreed?
Agreed.
Jar, agreed?
No, I mean, yes, I do.
Jar, be serious.
I wouldn't even call the call blackmail. It's just being used as ammo in the current day. So why is Lin calling possible response video by Jar blackmail?
And Jar took the situation as justification to have Lio Convoy reach out to me. Oh God, of course, Lio is involved again. And to get us to sit aside and have a discussion about our differences. And due to a misinformed sense
I'm like, my advice to Vincent Martin, I guess, if he's trying to involve Kristen Dark and I guess to also like try to start some stuff with him, leave Chris alone. Like just the videos that I've seen on Chris, I feel he's that type of person that will roast you, tell you everything that you need to know about yourself. And it's like things that you would think like nobody would know about. He'll pretty much like, yeah, he would end you in a content creating sense, you know. But yeah, he's somebody where I'm like, he's very vocal, you know, with his opinion. So I'm like, yeah, fam, like just leave Chris the Dark out of this. That's one person. Yeah, there might be other people you can get into it with them, but it could be a not really a civil conversation, but I think it would be a more fitting argument for you. But yeah, it's like with Kristen Dark though, on the other hand, I'm like, don't get into no arguments with him. I'm like, I don't know too much about Kristen Dark, but he just has that vibe about him where it's like you wouldn't want to get into an argument with him. So, but anyways, but more so like, I guess like if you're, you know, doing wrong, like somebody like JustARobot or Vincent Martin, but as far as like anything else, he seemed like a cool dude. So
owing him one, I agreed. Only for him to begin that conversation by blackmailing me with a credible threat of him sending his transphobic audience after me. Okay, listen, yes, Jar threatening you with blackmail is bad, okay? I talked about it covering your video. Lin, just because Jar's a dick doesn't mean that everybody who criticizes you is transphobic. You need to understand that not every single person that says your voice changer is annoying, your videos are shit, your arguments are shit, yada, 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 that doesn't mean that it's just all transphobia, okay? Your voice changer is annoying. Let's just be honest here. There's better technology for better voice changers. Can we collectively, as a fucking group, stop saying that that's transphobic? It's bullshit.
Does he want to be taken anywhat seriously by anyone on YouTube?
This conversation was prompted by Jar sending Mally an absolutely ridiculous voice note where, amongst other things, he used the same credible threat of sending his audience after me again, which, to be fair, he did do that. I'm not taking that away from Lin. Again, I don't know why you're scared of like one video that's gonna have like a couple mean comments for like a few days. Like you just power through it and don't give a shit, but fuck me, right?
Nah, it's like JustARobot, just because I feel like through everybody that has been recently making videos about him, I've dealt with him the longest. It ain't gonna go on for maybe I guess like now it probably would, but back then, like from 2016, like late 2016, 2020, and I mean it didn't really like, yeah, because it's like it stopped eventually, but yeah, that's how long our drama had more so I guess like the dislikes of the hate comments and stuff, you know, like that. Yeah, that's how long that stuff had went on. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, now, but like, yeah, now I feel like that because he made a video on me last year, and I'm like, I honestly, if I hadn't have checked his channel, I most likely wouldn't even have known of that video being uploaded. But anyways,
what? Because when you do a video on someone on YouTube or any public platform, you should expect some sort of response in some sort of form to a video being made by someone who platformed you and helped you along. Even if they didn't do that, there's a good chance that it could happen anyways. But it seems Lin is trying to use the fact that they're underage and Jar's got a transphobic audience, which even if true, would be a better reason to talk about these things behind the scenes like Jar asked for. Unless there's some particular reason why they don't want to have these private calls with Lio Convoy.
That's the thing though. It's like you're trying to make it seem like that, oh, his fans, like it's like they've been provoked, or you know, and it's like, yeah, in a sense where it's just I feel like that his fans, just based off of my experience with them, there was no reason for them to call me the N-word. There was no reason for them to harass me, my friends, you know, whether it was friends I went to school with or friends through content creating fans of mine. Like the thing is with his fans is that I think that's probably why Lin is saying that his fan base is transphobic, because yeah, it's like they probably did leave some comments at the time being when I guess when all this stuff was going down. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I don't put anything past his fans, because I know what his fans are capable of. So
in on them. I can't understand why Lin and Mally Malware would be reluctant to really resolve things privately. I can take a guess, but let me not. Do
It's like, when has Just a Robot ever resolved things privately? That's the thing where I'm like, I just remember the one time where it was the one guy, I Bully Bullies. I don't know if he told him to reach out to me or if he just I Bully Bullies just did it on his own free will. But no, he reached out to me. He was all like, Just a Robot wants to have a call with you, or hey, he was like, I want to set up a call with you and Just a Robot, one of the two. But anyways, like, I think the tweets are still up and stuff. So I mean, if you guys want to do some searching and digging around, you very well can. But he wanted me and Just a Robot to have a call, and I'm like, look, if he wants to apologize, he can tweet it, he can DM me, he can make a private video, whatever he needs to do. But I'm like, I don't want to have no conversation with him and stuff. And then that's when he hit me with the whole, oh, he's dyslexic. But I'm like, he never had an issue making a video about it. It's like, you don't have to. The thing is this, all he could just say was like, hey, TMossBoss, I apologize. Let's just go our separate ways. He could, like, fam, you could have just very well said that. But it's one of those things where when he has his mind made up on something, it's like, it's hard to break him out of that mindset. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I knew back then that a phone conversation with Just a Robot, it wouldn't have been good, and it just most likely would have been just pretty much like what's going on now. It would have been used for content. So yeah, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good, because you just see the last video where it's like that he made on me, where it's like you have no content. All you're just doing is just saying, hey, TMossBoss is uploading videos that's getting him a lot of views. That was pretty much the whole video. And it's like, but you don't have, like, I guess nothing to overall, like, make a video about. Like, that's all that you can really talk about. Yeah, it's not gonna be a good video. Ain't nobody gonna care about that. So yeah, versus like with the stuff that he got going on, it's like, fam, there's like content coming out about you every single day, whether it's some stuff that done got leaked out, whether it was like a Discord call or anything else. But yeah, it's like you got content and things, but it's like people that don't, and it's like you just go after them for whatever you got made up in your head and things. Yeah, it's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, that's why you're going through the crap you're going through now. But anyways,
let me finish. I don't like you, and that's it. It doesn't have anything to do with oranges. It doesn't have anything to do with Linlin. I don't know why you're making it like some sides situation. There is no sides. I just don't like you. You said some out-of-pocket shit to me at VidCon. You made me very uncomfortable, and I don't want you in my spaces. That is not a situation, and the idea that you're running around behind the scenes.
I feel like that's as clear as it can possibly get. So I'm like, if you still need, it's funny how it's like, that's how you'll see what like Vincent Martin, Just a Robot, like just that sphere, is that they'll hear things like this, won't even talk on it. And it's like earlier in the video, he's all like, oh, she didn't make it clear enough that she didn't want to be bothered with Just a Robot. I'm like, I feel like that's pretty clear.
Being like, oh, Mally and the entire commentary community is trying to do something to me is fucking wild. I don't know why you're behaving that way, and you need to knock it off.
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Funny that you started not liking me around the same time everyone else did. Kind of sus.
No, John. Stop.
Yes, Mally. It's absolutely no. Let me finish.
Okay.
I let you finish. You let me finish.
That's fair. Go on.
Sorry for raising my voice.
Go on.
I apologize. Like when you send me messages like, "Hey, Jar, I just saw this, and I want to ask you to just keep away from me and from me online and offline. I have any desire for public nonsense, especially petty nonsense like this. So I'd appreciate it if you could just be an adult and realize we simply don't get along. Now keep it moving. Like the entitlement. You're a public figure.
Okay.
And I just said something true about you. And then
how is that entitlement? No, she doesn't want to be. That's the thing where it's like he'll and it's just unfitting. Like that's not entitlement. No, that's just her having she's had multiple bad experiences with you. Even if it's just one bad experience that stood out than like multiple, she doesn't want to be bothered with you. That's not entitlement. That's just human. So okay, so my question is like, so what's up with you and in this conversation that you're supposed to have with OpBlock? Because wouldn't you say that you're being entitled, thinking like, oh, he's beneath me, he's this, he's that, oh, I don't like him, oh, I don't know. No, it's the same. My thing is this: if you're going to, I guess, have this energy towards somebody where, oh, they're supposed to be, or I'm supposed to be in their circle because I want to be in their circle, then it's like, fam, she doesn't want you to be in her circle. But it's like, no, my thing is this though: you got to have that same energy with OpBlock. So yeah, if OpBlock want to have a conversation with you, you should have a conversation with OpBlock. So, but yeah, the thing is this: I think he knows deep down inside that will probably be some of the like best Just a Robot content out there, because OpBlock's gonna ask him some hard-hitting questions, stuff that his autism and dyslexia can't process. So anyway,
no, you're going into a different topic, because you started with, it's funny that you disliked me as soon as everyone else started disliking you. Jar, do you remember what that comment I just sent you was directly after?
After the whole Spoctor.
No, it was after VidCon, when you said some truly out-of-pocket shit about guns and. Jar,
oh my God, you're just gaslighting.
Let me finish. You made me uncomfortable. I made it clear I did not want to see you. That was it.
And I didn't come see you.
Ignoring the fact you were looking for me at VidCon, which was, again, deeply uncomfortable, the reason I don't like you, Jar, is because you say shit to me that makes me uncomfortable. I don't care about your relationship with Lynn. I don't care about your spats with Harley. I could give less of a fuck about your relationship with anyone else in this community. You made me uncomfortable, and I don't like you. It's that simple. Questions?
You uncomfortable? You started it. You came at me with my whole Spoctor thing, telling me to change a fucking joke I made, and then telling me you didn't want to see me at VidCon. No one wanted to see me at VidCon. You all turned on me at the same time. And I just think this sounds plain. And I think you're making up the whole "you made me feel uncomfortable" thing because it's an easy out.
And I think you're paranoid. What of it?
Just because he's paranoid doesn't.
So the thing is this, all right? Let's just say that we erase the content creating stuff. And it's two people, just having a conversation. I don't know how many times like I've been around women and they've told me like, oh yeah, like fam, like even at my old job, like I remember there was this one customer where he did say some like out of pocket stuff to the girl that I was working with at the time. Like I think because she did give him, and that's the thing where it's like, yeah, talk, be cool with one another, be respectful. That's 100% fine. But when you start saying things like, I think he said something along the lines like, oh, I'm watching you or something like that. And she didn't even know where the guy was at. Now, like, yeah, he would do some like weird stuff. And I'm like just seeing it for myself. But yeah, he'll like walk past like areas where it's like, it's mainly for us to like walk around and stuff. But yeah, it's like he'll like, he was just being weird. And I was like, nah, bruh, even I'm noticing that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the thing. You have to take the hint. Like when a person doesn't want to be bothered with you, you're not there. There's no such thing as like, oh, well, it's because of this or it's this or no, the girl doesn't want to be bothered with you. Accept it. Move on. All right. Find other people to talk with, like all these people on earth. But it's like you want to have conversations with Mally Malware, and it's like, for what? So yeah, it's things like that. But I'm like, but like I said, it's like keep that same energy with OpBlog. It's like you feel that you need to have conversations, make videos, and do all this other stuff. I'm like, OpBlog, they should be able to do the same thing, correct? So based off of your logic. So anyway,
doesn't mean he's wrong. What's happening here is gaslighting. That's not to say she wasn't uncomfortable with how he spoke to her in the DMs, but how would he know that if she never told him? But the important question when looking at this drama in this particular way, is there any direct examples of Mally telling him how he talked to her made her feel uncomfortable, at least before VidCon? Now, it might have happened, but I would like some proof of that being the case with Mally here. Also, notice how when she's accusing him of stalking her and he asks when, she just kept talking without answering, going on and on and on. She even admitted
like, so I guess like we supposed to just have short-term memory. But it's just, to me though, it's funny how it's like he's still carrying on with the conversation. It wasn't like he kept asking when he knew overall when he did all that stalking stuff. So, and I don't put it past JustARobot. My thing is this: when you look at how the like encounters that I've had with his fans, like I could think back where it was that same dude, the I Bully Bullies guy, like when the drama was really active, he made this comment in the video. I don't think he has that video uploaded anymore, but he made this comment where he was all like, we're always watching you, like you can't do anything without us knowing about it and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, I'm making reaction videos. what are you going to, I guess, get or pick up out of it and stuff? So yeah, it's like I don't put it past JustARobot, his fans, anybody, where it's like they have like a stalkerish tendencies and stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, it's like they're known for doing stuff like that. So
he's been harassed in the past, but brushed it off as not a problem, in a way that would obviously hurt him emotionally, if the robot man had any emotions, that is. Which I think he might. If this had been a debate, not pressing her on the stalking claims would have been a mistake.
Off topic, but that's what this game is called. This game, I was thinking of, I was like, no, this game ain't called Rage, because I'm like, I played, there was Rage 2, and I'm like, they ain't have stuff. Prey. This game is called Prey. I guess for anybody, looking, it's all like, oh, wait a minute, like, what's the name of this game? Game's called Prey. It's just like, oh, they might have released it on like the next gen consoles like Xbox One and Series X and PlayStation 4 and 5. But no, yeah, I think, yeah, they did. I think, I think it did originally come out on the 360. I feel like maybe, I don't know, but anyway, but I think it might have did come out on the Xbox One. I think it was like one of those like games that was like, it was like one of those like front runner games that came out when like the next gen consoles was coming out.
It wasn't a debate. It was
back
a
on the
private
video
call that she decided to leak to Beckett for him to turn it into content because people pressured her. This happened after Jar made the biggest mistake of his YouTube career, waited 6 months, and did a rather poor response video. And for all of you saying Jar demanded this call and even blackmailed her into it, why, that's an exaggeration. It's close enough to the truth that it needs to be addressed. So what exactly was that threat Jar was supposedly using to blackmail her with, to release private info he had on her? You know, the same sort of thing that was done to him during the Cinebear 03 drama. So far, all we know is maybe, perhaps, he would send his transphobic audience to harass Lin, a poor minor who chose to involve herself in YouTube drama. But what about Mally Malware? She definitely seemed to be poking the bear in small little ways via other creators, then acting like he only thinks that because he's paranoid or traumatized from being harassed. Doesn't this sound like gaslighting? For those who don't know, gaslighting is manipulating someone into questioning their perception of reality, and that's exactly what seems to be happening to Jar here. Seriously, I don't know how anyone can look at this particular call and not...
How did she make him question anything? She said she didn't want to be bothered with. From what it seems like I've picked up so far from Mally Malware is that she passed along some criticism to Just a Robot. Just a Robot wanted her to elaborate a little bit more. I feel like for the most part she did, but he wanted to hang out and all this other stuff. She didn't see a reason for them to hang out. I'm like, even if I'm in her shoes, I'm like, what reason do we have to hang out? I'm like, we ain't never had no, I guess, like, we cool conversations and all that other stuff. It's like, nah, bro. It's like, I don't know what your intentions are. Even if it's on some stuff like where he wants to do like the least threatening, like, oh, I just want to have like a conversation with her about all this. Because I think that's what he definitely would have tried to have done is if let's say if Mally Malware did agree to sitting down and having like a IRL conversation with him, that he definitely would have been trying to bring up like this content creating stuff, thinking that like, oh, her mind is supposed to change because like, oh, she's sitting face to face in front of me and stuff. But it's like, fam, her opinion is still going to be the same. Like, I don't know her like that, but I feel like that her opinion still would have been the same. But I think he's trying to like be intimidating and all this other stuff. And it's like, nah, bro. It's like whether it is IRL or on the internet, it's like this girl doesn't want to, you know, I didn't agree with your thumbnail. Then it's like on top of that, it's like she doesn't want to be bothered with you. It's like the thing is this, if you can't, even people with like autism and all that stuff, they should be able to take the hint when somebody doesn't want to be bothered with them. It sounded like that you was trying to intimidate this girl as much as you possibly could. So I guess get her to meet up with you so you can have like some sort of not like control, like, you know, but like overall you want to like play like mind games, like that form of control and stuff, but not like you telling her what to do and all of that, but just more so like just try to dominate the conversation. And it's like, fam, this it doesn't matter like what your size is or what you look like or any of this other. It's like, fam, at the end of the day, if a person got an opinion about your thumbnail, about your video, about who you are as a person, whatever the case may be, that's not going to change just because we met face to face. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I've dealt with people like that, and yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm all like, fam, if you think you're gonna play some like mind game with me, I was like, oh, now we met face to face, now what? And it's like still the same, bruh, still the same. So
acknowledged it. Unless you think people like Jar should be gaslit. Just because you can get away with it and also get something out of it.
Funny goddamn stream of me and Beckett making hand over fist for his YouTube channel, laughing at Just a Robot.
Why most people should expect that. In doing content creation, Jar can be a bit dense and not pick up on things very easily. Or at least he pretends to do it to be manipulative is what I hear. Still, whether or not her saying she might see him at VidCon to be polite, or when she said it wasn't about the Harley drama to him in DMs, where it's clear he was desperate at least for 5 minutes of her time, or if it was for some other reason, because it was clear, at least to me, she didn't even want to do a quick meetup with him at VidCon at all. Hence why I say there's at least something in there that wasn't true from Mally, or at the very least not communicated clearly enough to Jar until that totally not a blackmail call. Frankly, I think Jar was lying either to her or himself when he said to her, "I trust you." Back to the call between Mally and Jar, which is totally not blackmail. It was agreed that they could talk about it privately with their friends.
I fully know that Jar will share it with their friends. I fully intend to share it with my friends, just making that clear now.
Which I believe Lio would qualify as for Jar, at least publicly at that time, despite him missing this call, which might be for the better given how much the dude likes to use previously private info on someone, you know, after he makes a rationalization or justification of that to release that agreed private info on someone, that is. Because what would Lion Man's justification be to telling Kumo about this VidCon incident between Jar and Ponder? I'm sure he has his rationale, but I don't know what it is, and I'm not that much of a logger to dig through all the content to try to figure out that. Because knowing him, it could have been complete bullshit. Or was it just some sort of revenge for Jar making a video on pretty much the drama that went down with Peaches and him? I have to wonder if this is why Ponder got grace for keeping secrets about her interactions with Spoctor. Because she didn't do anything, she didn't cover it, she didn't betray the man. Because frankly worse, half the stuff I've seen sounds much worse than the half-ass argument Jar had for Cindy. You know, he didn't think she was a pedo, and technically the grooming thing is not intentional on her part. I think that's the nutshell of his crappy video.
Really makes you think.
I bring all this up because it sort of conflicts with how Calimera is portraying it in her video. Not that I can assume she knew anything about all of this. After all, ignorance is bliss seems to be a theme in the ACC, despite all their talk about accountability. Don't know about something? You can't hold someone accountable for it, I guess is their logic. Not that they followed that, it seems.
Just a reminder.
Mally's response to Jar's thumbnail, then Jar's request to BC sort of brought Harley into the combo, and later when Mally lent her voices to Lin's video on Jar, yeah, Jar might be dense, but it was clear that she was missing most of what was being said at this point. Or she didn't care what he had to say, and was possibly one of the people in Harley's DMs.
It was made public without our...
But why? I guess so. If that was the whole reason why he had an issue with her, it's like, fam, she's not allowed to, I guess, do videos with people you ain't cool with. I don't know how many times, like, there's creators that I'm not fans of, but I'll see creators that I am a fan of where they'll do content with them, and I'm like, oh, okay. But my thing is this. I'm not gonna watch that content, you know? So yeah, I just think that now it does sound like that he wants to have like a control over people, and it's like, fam, no, it don't work like that. That girl's entitled to do a video with whoever it is that she wants to do a video with, and if that's your reason on being all weird towards her and stuff, and it's like, yeah, bro, it's going all the way back to what I've been saying about him for some a while now, is that, you don't need to be a content creator. You don't need to interact with people. It's like you would rather have control over people than to allow a person to just be themselves, because it's like, oh, people don't accept me, so now I can't accept people and what they got going on, whether it's people that they cool with or who they are as a person and things. And yeah, it's like you can't go about life like that, but in Just the Robot's eyes, you can. So anyway, more so if you're him, but
permission, because we never wanted this to be public in the first place. And now it's being used by Jar, even though he was the one that told Leo about this in the first place.
Still, trying to frame it as Jar's fault it got leaked is mental gymnastics at its finest, since it was Lio who told it to Kumo, a
guy who wasn't there, wasn't even involved in the situation, and never even confirmed with us about what happened before telling the story for us. Because then you get weird embellishments like that, and it just muddies the water, and that is why I'm speaking out about this.
And I can agree with that last part. That was what Kumo did. The same Kumo that Lio told Jar talked to him about it after Kumo did this.
He wanted to meet up with like big art names like Streamline Workshop and Ponder Sprocket in like this art space, and he wasn't taking no for an answer from them. And then he showed up at VidCon and like with a terrible fake accent and like spoke to them. They didn't know it was him, and then he like spoke in his real voice and walked away and scared the shit out of them. And he like manically laughed while walking away.
But maybe selective ignorance is required for creators who talk to members of the ACC. Many other sections and Callie's video come off as misplacing the blame on this being made public and forcing her to talk about it publicly, mostly on Jar. It's like, how dare he uses Kumo's version of events and not Ponder's? It's the sort of energy that I get from this.
Time I go to bed and I'm about to fall asleep, I just feel angry about sometimes things that have happened 10 years ago, and sometimes I feel like revenge is the only thing that keeps me going.
Oh, also, I want to clarify something else that Jar said in his video. Basically, Jar said that Ponder claimed he laughed maniacally after squeezing her hand, or at the very least he worded it in a way that, to a lot of people watching the video, including myself, made it seem like she was the one that spread this rumor. First of all, as one of the people that Ponder was waiting to meet up with when she had that encounter with Jar, I can verify that the story she told minutes after it happened and now is still the same.
There's also a strong likelihood of her wanting to back up her friend's claims about Just a Robot stalking them at VidCon.
Bridge was completely burnt. There were no more lines of communication between Jar and our friend group. So imagine our surprise when Jar did show up again. Alone, might I add. Now, in his video, Jar claims that he wasn't purposely following us around, and overall, I think either Jar very poorly structured his defense, or he was purposely wording things in a manipulative way, because he essentially addresses the allegation like it's being levied at someone else, and with the way he words things, you'd think he was trying to construct the narrative that he wasn't there at all.
There was another allegation about me hunting them down at VidCon 2024. From the video evidence I have seen, the video footage just shows them running or hiding from someone who is allegedly me, but they don't show me in any of their video footage. There's not one single shred of evidence that I was looking for them. Sure, I was keeping an eye out for Ponder, and if I saw her, I was just going to say, hey, did you see Akuma's new video on you? And then walk away. And that was was about it. If there was video evidence of me running up the escalator to catch them, or chasing them around at panels, that would for sure make me look very creepy. But just for the sake of argument, let's take their word on it. Let's say I was hunting them down at VidCon and chasing after them. Then what was I going to do when I caught them? Shake their hand again? Sorry, but I'm going to keep going to VidCon. I'm not looking for you guys, and I hope you guys aren't looking for me. We can both enjoy it separately. As much as they say that I'm...
My thing is this, you not coming out and saying, I guess, the truth on what you would have did if you would have approached them, because it's like, yeah, it's one of those like what if questions. It's like, well, what if you did approach them? Like, what would you have done and stuff? But that's the thing. How is a person supposed to know? It's like you display this weird behavior on the internet. Why am I supposed to trust you? Like, oh yeah, that's a completely normal person that's, you know, like, oh, they're speed walking, jogging, whatever it was that he was doing to approach them and stuff. Like, oh yeah, that's a completely normal way of approaching a person. Even if it is on some stuff where it's like you walk up on them and things, they don't want to be bothered with you. What part of that do you not understand? You know, so like, again, it's like they ain't got nothing to do with autism, dyslexia, or, oh, my software and CPU. It's like my AI technology we haven't developed. No, a person doesn't want to be bothered with you, okay? You guys stop being just a robot and be Luke for 1 minute and understand if a person don't want to be bothered with you. It's like, don't approach them. Don't sit next to them. Don't have no conversations with them. Unfollow them from social media. Don't talk about them. Just let them be, and they'll let you be. What part of that do you not understand? That's what I would like to know. So anyways,
I think they're really the paranoid ones.
Based off the evidence I've seen, Jar, you were there. Don't act like you're hearing about this from a second or third party.
Kelly doesn't actually prove any of this, just gives her viewers a trust me bro moment by showing someone locking eyes with someone else.
Yeah, I think they did say though that the video, like there was just a video where I think it was Harley where they were like standing. So it's like you see they were standing, they were having a conversation with the people around them, and then they look over and then you could see like that they seen somebody and stuff, but they didn't, and I think that's what it was. They wanted to keep Just a Robot anonymous and stuff. So probably if I think it was Kumo, they never would have came out and talked about it. They would have never talked about it, showed no videos or any of that. I think they did, but they wasn't name dropping Just a Robot. But anyways,
claiming it was Jar, and maybe it was him. Maybe it did happen in 2024. But this whole theory about what Jar is probably
I think it was 2023, and then the 2024 incident was, I believe they were all sitting at a table and Just a Robot sat next to them, and it's like, okay, I imagine you now know what they look like. You can recognize their voice and stuff. I imagine they were sitting at this table talking with one another. Based on how it sounds like at these VidCon events, like it's a big venue that they're having the event at, so it's most likely there's going to be kind of like pockets of this area where, you know, you could sit amongst your friends and just have like a, you know, a normal conversation, but also like still talk at a volume kind of like how I'm talking now and be able to like recognize the voice of you some distance away and things. So yeah, it's like he knew what he was doing. It's eventually at some point in time he is going to come out and tell the truth on that whole situation. And yeah, and it's like, you know, hopefully maybe it's like, I guess any of the people that were a part of that whole group, yeah, and it's like I think it's just somewhere it's like he just needs to properly apologize about it rather than like, oh, let me defend myself. If there ain't no video evidence or nothing, it's like, hey, like whether there is or not, like still apologize that you made them uncomfortable. But he ain't gonna do that because he ain't gonna look at himself as that he was wrong for what he did. So he's like, oh, well, he was like, I wasn't, my intentions weren't to do anything. How am I supposed to know that? So like that's like, yeah, it's when that stuff starts happening to him, then maybe he'll understand. But until then, if that stuff ain't never happening to him, he ain't gonna care about it.
Dude,
so
in this video feels like such a fucking reach. Trying to argue Jar would deny he was even there is just one example of the many reasons I've been calling several parts of this video using mental gymnastics for justifying it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Jar wasn't stalking them at VidCon 2023 or 2024 too, I guess, because I don't know that. But speaking personally, if I genuinely believe someone was stalking or harassing me at a public event like VidCon for 2 years straight, I would want to document that shit. Hell, even if I thought it might spark drama, I would probably go to the staff and report it as a safety concern. And maybe they did, but I find it hard to believe Jar would behave like this in public, given how paranoid he was about getting canceled. At least beyond the weird encounter, both he and Ponder remember differently, which no one else in Ponder's.
And that's how I know that Vincent Martin, he just recently became a fan of Just a Robot because, fam, I called him out for being racist. I called him out for being a pedophile. what else, it's like, I mean, just throughout the times where like me and him were getting into it and stuff, he never displayed and I feel like he's just only saying that now thinking like, oh, okay, maybe the narrative might change and all that stuff. Like, I just roll the dice on this, and it's like, nah, bro. But yeah, it's like he never displayed no like him being paranoid and crap. Like he seemed like they are like more so about being canceled. Yeah, you could call him out on some stuff. He's just gonna find an argument for it. So yeah, maybe he is, but that's the thing about him. It's like he's gonna argue about whatever it is that you're calling him out on. It's like if you gotta have like, I guess, like video evidence of him typing on his computer saying something crazy or doing something crazy, or have video evidence of him chasing you around and stuff. So I guess like from this day forward, whatever evidence that you do have on Just a Robot about any crap, whether it's new, old, put that stuff out there, and I was like, and whatever happens.
Girl power group actually witnessed, at least according to Ponder.
And some of you might be thinking, oh, that's the funny part. The funny part was the experience. No, the funny part is the context around it. See, 5 minutes, maybe not even that, after this person walked away from us, the other people that we were hanging out with at VidCon came to meet up with us in that exact spot, including the people this creator was looking for. The funny thing is that if they hadn't introduced themselves to me, showing a person who otherwise wouldn't have been able to pick them out of a crowd exactly what they looked like, and they just sat there for a couple extra minutes, they would have had the exact people who were trying to avoid them walk right up to them, none the wiser. I guess doing whatever purpose that served was more important, which is so funny that it ended up being the greatest part of the whole trip.
Another part of Ponder's VidCon video that I found interesting is this section here.
At that point, Mally took me aside and explained her situation. As it turns out, before the party, Mally had taken an edible and was having a bit of a bad reaction. And so, as the resident stoner, I switched into mom mode. We excused ourselves from the party, headed back to the B&B, and snuggled up to watch Gravity Falls for the rest of the evening.
I have to wonder if Mally shared the DMs she got from Just a Robot, why they were snuggled up, assuming any of the stories from Ponder in this particular video are true given how much has come out since then. Coverage from many people such as Akumo and Toastify at the very least puts Ponder's honesty in doubt. Now, I don't want to just rely on doubt that was created by other people in the credibility of those in the ACC and those around them, because as much as Mally Malware wants to claim it has nothing to do with Harley, that would contradict something that's ironically found in one of Harley's own videos.
Maternal feeling towards Harley, so it's going to take an actual, like, malicious act from him, them, that I can see and perceive before I would cut them off.
There's a lot of stuff Harley's done that we haven't talked about yet, such as, so you know what's going on with the glitch tail stuff, right?
I mean, vaguely, a little bit.
You know that Crystal was a child that was groomed on in that server, right?
Yes. Yes.
When Harley approached Crystal, Harley essentially told Crystal that she wasn't, because it's only a 4-year age gap.
Okay, I get it.
And that they needed better evidence, other victims, because that's not evidence of.
Okay, well, I mean, that would be the sort of thing that I would have to actually talk to Harley about, because unfortunately, this is another issue that we had, oh god, again, months ago, when the call was first kind of brought up, and then in like the jar situation, all that type of stuff, where sometimes you would tell, I think you said it first, where you told me that I was associated with people who supported Miz or something, and that freaked me out. When I asked you who, you told me that you couldn't tell me, and then eventually, like a few months later, after the jar call, you told me you meant Harley. And again, I think you said that because you were like, oh, we'll talk about it when we have the call. You can imagine my distress when you have said someone in my midst is a secret defender, and again, I think you were referencing Spoctor in that. So you can imagine why I take with a grain of salt whenever you tell me that kind of thing, right? Which is probably also why I was a little hesitant on, because at this point I can't trust when people just tell me these things anymore.
When did I tell you you were affiliated with Defenders? I don't even recall ever calling Spoctor a groomer.
In fairness, I may not be remembering your words correctly, because that was when we talked about that call, and I was confused about Jar being paranoid about this group and whatnot, and you then explained to me it was Harley and Oranges, hence why I mentioned Oranges and this. It's all fucking connected.
You heard it yourself. She said it's all connected herself, but I'm being mean by not playing the context that led to this previously privated call being released by Harley, at least with the consent of the two people involved.
In September of 2022, several of my staff members and personal friends were dragged into Senate and interrogated over a mistake that they made in spreading a false predator allegation both in private and publicly via the announcements channel in my Discord server, at the point where representatives of Senate, including Hopeless Peaches, brought them into a call and started to interrogate them in front of an audience of people. None of my staff members are public figures, and so I did not understand why they were made into a public spectacle for Senate. This was an issue with my server that should have been brought to my attention, and then I could have removed those members from my staff team for both mishandling their power and putting my reputation at stake by making false allegations in my announcements channel. But because of the way this situation was handled by Senate, it became so much worse. One of these members contacted me and told me that they were not left alone by Senate even after they expressed that they were neurodivergent, that the way they were treated in Senate led to them having a mental breakdown while on the call, and that said call put them at risk to their own safety in ways I will not divulge in this video. While I agree that these parties were out of line as I removed every single one of these people from my staff team following this mistake, it was a situation for me to handle, and instead it was taken into Senate's own hands and made so much worse. The main staff member that was interrogated was not even the staff member that posted the announcement, as they refused to join the call, and yet they were made an example out of in front of an audience of up to 100 people. I decided not to share this information publicly at the time it happened because I was concerned for the safety of the staff members involved and felt that a public discussion around it would make it worse for them. Though I've since received approval from this ex-staff member to include the story within this video, and at their request, because they are not a public figure, I have kept them anonymous. If Lyle or anyone else representing Senate makes a response to this video in any capacity, I would like to ask that they remain unnamed, and I would like to ask that their call is not played. You are free to criticize me for anything I've said publicly, but to bring a non-public figure into this discussion when they have no platform to defend themselves, and also when they no longer represent me, would be reckless and irresponsible. This also led to a conversation with Peaches where I refused to use the Senate to resolve a dispute because I felt the server was not conducive to a productive conversation. This and several other situations are what led to me and Peaches cutting ties with each other, and I haven't been their friend for over a year now. I was also made aware that immediately as soon as I cut ties with Peaches, they started to dig for dirt on me, though it turned out when I was contacted by more people that behavior continued even while we were friends. While I'm not on good terms with Lyle and I've since cut him off, he has also expressed the sentiment that his perspective on me was influenced by Peaches and the claims they made about me behind the scenes. And in this clip, you'll see how bad his perspective on me was. As with the consent of both Lyle and Mally, I would like to publicize a conversation they had in private where Lyle was trying to convince Mally, one of my personal friends and someone I've met in real life on several occasions, to cut ties with me over claims that and I cannot be more clear about this if I try, are flagrantly and blatantly untrue.
I played the relevant parts that I could to both highlight the attitude of the ACC, at least at that time, had about releasing previously privated calls. And this also very likely explains why Harley didn't want to VC with his friend, given that Jar was dumb enough or manipulative enough to be in bed with Peaches and Lyle Convoy to mediate him. You can take your pick of which he was trying to do in that thread. Frankly, I would go with dumb over malice. But that's just me. Funny enough, this seems to be something Harley fails to mention to Turkey Tom when the Tom of the Turkey is looking over this matter.
Senate is a server owned by Lyle Convoy, moderated by like some other YouTubers with like 120k subs, 100k, that kind of range. And basically the way it functioned would be they would find someone they deem immoral, drag them into a call, have like a spectators group of like 80 plus people that could just kind of hop in at any time and basically just like like murder them.
Was this like on stream? Like was this for content?
Sometimes they would turn into YouTube VODs, but it was mostly just for like the satisfaction of the people in the server.
Just for fun? They were just getting about this is like a John Swan type thing. Just like we're gonna own this guy. Everyone will know I own him.
Kind of, yeah. Like, I know Peaches used some clips in one of their videos, but I think that's as far as it went. Like, it wasn't really a big, like, thing for money. It was just kind of a thing for, like, the way I explain it in my videos, I think a lot of these people are just kind of mentally unwell. And
the thing is this, it's like, okay, leaving that comment, how does that, especially with the Jaden animation video that it was like that was being shared around with Just a Robot. Why would you come out and say that? Like, I don't really know too much about Tom Dark base, but just only thing I really know is the videos. But just the stuff that I've heard about Just a Robot, the stuff that he said about Jaden Animations, it's like, yeah, that's not good either. You know, him stalking her and stuff. But yeah, I guess like if it gets to a point in time where Just a Robot, you know, he went to jail because of this type of stuff, and I'm like, hey, don't say I didn't warn you, because that's what's most likely going to end up happening.
They've gone through their own kind of trauma. Go after people they deem to be bad and vent whatever they're upset about them.
Okay, gotcha.
Even when Tom brings up Jar, where Harley claims not to.
I feel like he deserves a lot of respect on that one.
That's true. I mean, he makes, I don't know what happened to Just a Robot. I used to make videos with him back in the day. We kind of had a like vague disagreement.
Bullshit! Seriously, this is plain dumb at best and a lie any other way you want to slice it with the current knowledge that I have. That anyone should have, but why would they care? Now I can understand why he might have played dumb in that moment. Hardly question why Tom thinks Jar is a genius.
Okay, because I'm the only innocent party. Okay, I don't know any of these people, so they can't own me. And I'm gonna do a collab with Just a Robot, and we're gonna get them back. Me and Jar.
Fucking Just a Robot.
He's the only one from that community, as far as I'm concerned, that's a genius in any respect.
A genius.
He's a genius, yes.
What gives you the impression Just a Robot is a genius?
Well, that clip where he was like talking about Gumball, he was like, the joke is penis. I feel like that was pretty good.
Before doing his own little dumb act, pretending he wasn't avoiding Jar because he was still friendly with Peaches or Lyo at the time, probably had his own suspicions of being set up. In hindsight, that idea is very supported. Anyone who went through that and not thinking that's a possibility, who knows what that says about their intelligence. Because that whole thing, especially that Twitter thread, was beyond dumb. It reminds me of that same sort of behavior we saw when Spoctor admitted to things to Peaches in DMs and thought, yeah, no one would care. And frankly, he was half right.
The thing Peaches told me was that she gave Spoctor proof for his video on her drama, but he almost used none of it. If you've seen my first video on Spoctor, then you would know how unfair he was to her when he knew that the drama around her was 99% made up bullshit. So why didn't I go over this? Well, it was because Peaches didn't have proof at the time.
time. Her old Discord where she talked to him was gone. The only one with the proof was Spoctor himself, along with a few screenshots from one of Harley's videos that unfortunately was not sufficient enough evidence.
Spoctor is a content creator who covered this situation, and the way he handled it genuinely angers me. In DMs with Peaches, he discusses how the evidence she provides him completely changes the narrative, then continues to make his video where he says in DMs with her that his video misses the mark and doesn't defend her at all, where he says that he has to go after her for the sake of PR.
So, has any new evidence come to light that gives Mally's stalking claim about Jar, the ones from the Totally Not a Blackmail call, any more credibility? Well, not really, but frankly, nothing genuinely new to add to it. Aside from that video where Harley supposedly locks eyes with someone who might have been Jar, or could have been someone else entirely. It's unlike Kala Mara with her weird take that he's making it out like he wasn't even at VidCon. No, the dude wouldn't deny it. He was a creator. You guys exiled him, and what? He was supposed to go out of his way so he didn't encounter you? So a group of ACC people got a former exile, and now he's supposed to make sure he's not going to the same places, even though they have similar interests, obviously. And Harley might
It's like nobody's saying that he can't go to VidCon. It's like, fam, just don't go to VidCon and start doing some old weird stuff. That's what I think what everybody's trying to say. I don't know what Vincent Martin, like, what he be thinking about or what goes through his head, but it just comes off as like he's trying to be the next Just a Robot. Like, you know, yeah, maybe it's like some Matrix thing. Luke is plugged in. I think what he's trying to do is unplug Luke and then put himself in the Just a Robot persona and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it just sounds like a weird Twilight Zone episode, but I think that's what he's trying to
wanted
do.
to make those claims right then and there, Turkey Tom there, but instead chose to play dumb. Probably because of the same values he went on about in the video that Tom didn't have the attention span to actually engage with. It took an outsider like Beckett coming in with his whole, who cares about all these rules you idiots have? We're here to make content attitude for this narrative to really take off. Aided by commentary's growing penchant to locale content, probably fueled by the LCU, started by Keemstar, but more aided indirectly by two other former Twitch pole dancers turned commentary community people, Judd Logic and Queeman. Not saying they were in on anything, just if it was something they can make content on, it was good enough for them. And this is the same guy who bragged to another leftist creator. He learned how to take down other YouTubers from an old Turkey Tom video.
Talk to you really about canceling and like career ending and why sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And kind of, you know, in your experience covering this stuff, being a fan of it even before, you know, how does someone actually end their career? Or how do you actually end somebody's career? Like, how much effect can you cause?
You know, it's really interesting. I was talking to Toastify about this earlier today because everyone's doing this end of year reflect shit. But there's a video by Turkey Tom about 6 years ago of how to destroy a YouTuber.
And oh yeah, got paid by Brianna Wu to make his first video. And yeah, I'm being extremely reductive with this last little bit because the evidence for so many of these claims against Jar are so paper thin and frankly seem like a invention of overactive imaginations of these Twitch poll rejects that is beyond reductive. I know it's the court of opinion, but shouldn't the burden of proof be on the accuser? And Jar was dumb enough to think he could talk his way and apologize his way out of it. Sorry, Jar. I said it in my last video, and a lot of it came true. Jar's officially a lolcow after making so many responses, like I said he would become. But that doesn't matter to most of anyone, because Beckett got this narrative in well enough before
Like I think what Vincent, what his idea is with this video, he's like, okay, I learned from my mistakes in the last video, so now he's going to try to make it seem like, well, I'm not just a robot fan. Like, I am going to criticize him on some things, but I am going to point out these arguments. And it's like, fam, you're either a fan or you're not. Like, pick and choose, bro. But it's like you're trying to like blend stuff in. It's not working. It ain't working, bro.
Outed by the commentary community.
It's like, we
as
can
I
see
highlighted
you
in the
clearly.
very
You're a
beginning.
fan.
He worked his way up that pole, now recording, becoming the ACC autistic whisperer, and became an expert when really he was just leeching off of various other people's perspective on the ACC, starting with Akumu. And each one of those people I mentioned, they found a way to piss off the greater commentary community for the most part, all in different little special ways. So they do what they must to survive, and I'm sure they will. Even Beckett, smart to focus on his ACC content, because the dude can get away with so much more BS in that space as long as he starts doing things a little bit more smartly. Probably starting with losing the baggage of Lio Convoy. But for some reason, I doubt that's going to happen. Because as long as you're going against someone who's hated enough, weird enough, or small enough, you ain't going to get no flack, and no one's going to go to bat for them. It seems very similar like with Smashed AT, claiming that it was really Alyssa McConte who was the one harassing him. Yes, the cringy, very unlikable Kotaku reporter with almost very few following back when...
Can I just say, this video just comes off as like, it's just all over the place. Like, it's just, I think he was trying to like aim for a defense video, but then he was like, okay, well, I gotta throw in some, you know, some jabs in there, like every 2 minutes or something like that, but it just seemed like that his thought process, it's like it's all over the place. Like he can't focus when doing this video, and it's like, yeah, bro, if you struggle that much to make a video on somebody, it's probably best you need to leave it alone, bro.
Has started his little campaign in Kotaku. Really started. She's the one harassing the guy who stood out from the pack of morons of the anti-DEI and anti-woke from the rest of the dipshits who latched onto Gamergate 2 by baiting a nobody who happened to be a Kotaku reporter into going Karen on them and riding that victimhood on her spurg out in the DMs of his wife. Bad move on her behalf, but she is a Hassan simp, and she does still hold on to old, archaic SJW views such as P plus P equals racism. Why that's the center focus? They claim everyone against Smash and Grums are just like Kotaku reporters, no matter how true that might be. Guilt by association is these bread and butters of these people, even when it's complete headcanon and bullshit that enables them to make false claims about people because somehow they're too hated or too small to really care about covering. I'm going to sign out now with a bit of Akumo talk with Bonder. Don't worry, you won't miss any of the visuals. I'll put the big disagreement on the screen so you can judge them for yourself if you want.
It always resorts to that, or they also brought up so you think you're a good guy? Nope, didn't bring that up once. And that was brought up during the Nezzy call too.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's just the art audience has a ironically, this is coming from me. So ironically, they have a bit of a black and white view.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're very prone to anger. That's why so many of my videos are focused around, well, nowadays I'm trying to switch into videos that focus around like, hey guys, there are shades of gray.
No, it's a rare thing because either most videos are just like one-sided stories, and so they do very well because they're one-sided stories, but they're juicier that way. They get more attention that way.
Yeah, you've got a hero, you've got a villain, you've got a narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
People like that.
And when it's not so that way, everyone, and I mean everyone, has to be either victim, a harasser, or abuser. And I mean everyone, because FCK, right? I fuck with them after they make up shit about me, or I don't know, Photoshop evidence, or accuse me of sending doxers, and then flip-flopping. You see, one minute I did the doxing myself. I tried to do it, and the next minute I sent people, and there's no proof of it. Just that I had a conversation.
Yeah, it just
with
seems
you,
like that
and
this video was mainly like, oh, I want to show other people's videos talking on these topics and stuff. But it's like it just seemed like nothing seemed like it lined. I felt like I watched a movie where they showed the 30th scene, and then they showed the second scene, and then they showed the 50th scene, and then they showed the 15th scene, and then they showed the 20th scene. And it's like, that's how I felt like watching this video. Like nothing lined up. Nothing was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just, exit out and stuff. Cause I'm like, for one, I'm getting hungry. And second, I'm like, yeah, that video is just all over the place. I just think that if you're gonna do a defense video talking to Vincent, it has to be a little bit more planned out and, well put together and things. But if that's the best that you could come up with, where it's like, it's a defense, but it's also throwing shots, like I didn't know where this video was going at. But yeah, I think it's best, you just need to leave this stuff alone. This is a conversation not for you. So, but anyways, yeah, if you guys want to, make sure you go subscribe to Vincent Martin. That's if you want to, but if not, I can understand. So, but anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and peace.